Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRFBets race of the day for Saturday, May the 25th. Race number 11 at Monmouth Park. It is the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes for 3-year-olds and up, going 1 1/8 miles on the turf. Our Monmouth Stakes coverage is presented to you by our good friends at Monmouth Park, and you're going to get involved with this race with your race of the day money back guarantee. Remember, each race of the day this month here on DRF.com, if you bet $7 to win on any one selection and your horse runs second or third, you get your money back. Learn more at promos.drf.com. Here's the field for the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. It's a really nice field, and as you can see by the morning line, it is certainly evenly matched. You can access free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Download them, handicap along with us. We'll take the field in post-position order, beginning with the number 1, Monarchs Glen, a Juddmonte homebred son of Frankel, a stakes winner, a group stakes winner overseas, and I thought in his seasonal debut for Billy Mott, they were giving him one around the track.
Yeah, it certainly looked like that, didn't it? I mean, he didn't, like a lot of these Europeans, he didn't break great from the gate in there. Just outrun lashed. You could see that Joel Rosario, who was riding that day, no hurry at all back there, let him trail that field, took him wide in the stretch and just let him pass some horses. But it never felt like there was any urgency at all with him in there. I think they were giving him a race, trying to set him up, probably for something longer too, because going by his European form, he doesn't really want a mile. He wants more than that. He was a good horse over there. Not an easy horse to ride. He's sort of his own worst enemy a lot over there, causing his own problems, but they gelded him as a 3-year-old. He seemed like he got better after that. If he can settle down and get a trip in this race, I think he's going to be pretty tough in here.
Breaking from the inside is really good for him because he can get in behind horses real quick, and maybe that will settle him down. I think he's going to need a little bit of pace, but again, I thought that last race was merely a prep, and this 9 furlongs just seems to be his distance. The number 2 is a fellow British bred. That is Manar, who for a brief instant in 2017 looked like he was going to take over the mantle of the top older turf horse in the country when he beat a good one in Beach Patrol in the Gulfstream Park Handicap. Unfortunately for him, unfortunately for the connections, he missed a year. And while he came back with a rock-solid effort and a good second in the Arlington Million, his recent form has been flat.
His last 3 races to end his 6-year-old campaign were not good. I mean, to me, he didn't run particularly well in any of them. On the other hand, he really does feel like a horse who wants firm turf. And he didn't get firm turf in any of those races. I think that's a big excuse for him. He's another horse who he can be really hard to ride when you watch him in his races. I mean, he just takes a big pull early in his races. So it's up to Bravo to just get him settled down and get a trip for this horse. But if he catches firm ground, I'm going to expect him to run a better race, Dan, but he does need firm ground, and he's going to need to behave himself in this race.
I agree with you, because I just didn't like the way he was traveling over the good
No, he doesn't seem to like it at all.
On the Fort Lauderdale, and his last 3 races coinciding with him going off form, all over wet turf courses. Consider he was favored in the Fort Lauderdale. That was a really good race. 3 next out winners. Caravon, the runner-ups, come back to do some good things. This horse has a lot of class, but it'll be interesting to see if he gets the firm ground that he might need. The number 3 is Market Off, going out for trainer Michael Maker. This horse just got beat a dirty nose in the Muniz Memorial, but to be honest, I think that's the very best he can run. He had everything his own way. Handed to him on a silver platter, the easiest of leads, and it took the best turf horse in the country in bricks and mortar to run him down. They tried that trick last time out in the Turf Classic. He didn't run as well.
It wasn't nearly as close last time. That felt like that Muniz 2-back. That felt like the time for him to pick up that graded stakes when he couldn't quite get it. Listen, I guess they've decided they're going to use his speed from now on, and I guess they'll try and get forward in this race as well. But I think he had his chance to win one of these bigger races, and he didn't get it done that day.
Getting back to Manar real quick, I want to throw a formulator fact up. If you are concerned about the 5-month layoff, past 3 years, older turf routers off, what is that, a 4 to 6 month layoff in graded stakes. Chad's only winning 35% with a 365 ROI. Now, Market Off has shown speed in his last 2 races. Timeform US, however, does not believe that Market Off is going to get to the lead. They've got him 5th. And I think that's not going to be the case on Saturday. Up the Ante is a fast horse, though, for Christophe Clement. And I think he's also upwardly mobile as a very lightly raced 4-year-old. In the Saranac, he got a nice, easy lead, but he also got run down by a good horse in Raging Bull. Last time out off the layoff, that was the prep. That's the kind of prep I like to see coming into a big race.
I kind of agree with you. I like that they used that race. It seemed like they used that race to set him up for this one. They didn't really show, he was away fine from the gate, and they didn't really let him show his speed. They raided in behind. He gave away some position around the second turn, then he rallied through the stretch. I like the run he put in the last eighth of a mile in there. I guess the question is, how good is he? Because that's real. I'm not really sure how good he is. If you go through his form last year as a 3-year-old, he won that race at Belmont when he won that allowance race, just absolutely walking on the lead that day. He won the Manila over Raging Bull, just absolutely strolling on the lead that day. Raging Bull ran the best race that day. This horse just really took advantage of his soft pace. I know he's good, Dan. I just don't know how good he is when he has to race somebody early. And I think he has to race somebody early.
And if it's not going to be market off, it's likely to be the 5, Irish Strait, who's right next door. Nice to see Irish Strait come back to his form last time out. As a 7-year-old for Graham Motion, he won the Henry Clark at Laurel. The 4th place horse came back to run 3rd in the Dixie last week at Pimlico with a 95 buyer. And this horse has done some good things at Monmouth in the past. Now, is he the triple-digit buyer horse that he was as a 5-year-old? Probably not. But this horse, you really can never count him out over this course.
Yeah, especially if he gets firm ground and he gets out there on the lead. He's really tough to run down sometimes. I question whether he's, really good enough to beat some of the horses he's facing. This is a good field, and I feel like he might not be good enough to beat some of these horses. And I really worry about the 1 1/8 with him too. I'm not sure this is a good distance for him, but when he's right and when he runs his best race, he's pretty tough to pass.
It's been a while since we've seen the best race from Force the Pass. Just consider, he won the Belmont Derby in 2015, and he still was kicking last year, winning the cliffhanger at Monmouth off of a really, really long layoff. But he's continued to have his share of problems. He returned off a layoff last time out, and it was a fine effort, but it was a slow race.
It was a slow race, but it's probably a race that you would think he needed. The horse that he couldn't get to in there, by the way, Ghost Hunter, don't discount a horse like him. I think he's won. He might have won. He might be a 20-time winner. I mean, he's a really, really good horse, and Force the Pass just couldn't get him. He's going to have to jump forward off of that seasonal debut, though.
I think you'd agree that the horse they have to beat in here is the number 7 Synchrony, who rolled through the Oceanport and Red Bank at Monmouth last year. Got good trips in both of those races, but he's just simply a good horse. In the Muniz 2 starts back, that was the race where Marketoff walked on the lead. Synchrony was hanging out near the back of the pack. He had no pace to run at. He was kind of in tight and behind horses turning into the stretch, and he still fired a good shot. I think he ran just as well as Bricks and Mortar did in that race. We were weirded out when Michael Stidham put the blinkers on last time out. It didn't work out. Blinkers are coming off.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that equipment change was about last time, but it obviously didn't have the desired effect. He didn't run that well last time, but I'm also going to give him the excuse of catching some ground with some giving, because I don't think he really likes it. I think he's a much better firm turf horse, and I think based on his first 2 starts this year at the fairgrounds, I think this horse can still run. He's probably the horse to beat in here. This is a good field, though. I'm using him, but I'm trying to beat him.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the DRFBets race of the day. Oh, I'm just a sucker for projected.
Wow.
12 times second from 27 lifetimes. He's got to drift from the 5 to 1. I can't imagine him being 5 to 1 in this race. Here are my angles.
All right, go ahead. I want to hear this.
I thought he ran real well last time out in the cliffhanger at Monmouth. I think it's a good horse in Hawkish. We're going to be hearing a lot of things from Hawkish, I believe, in 2019. Hawkish snuck through inside a projected. When projected can't see you, listen, projected don't want to beat you anyway. But when he can't see you, he certainly doesn't want to beat you. And the second is the 3rd start of the form cycle angle. It just seems like he runs his best race 3rd off the bench. I know you're not an angle guy like that. Just go back, 2017 Dixie, 2nd at Champion World Approval, 103 buyer speed figure. 3rd off the layoff, Baltimore Washington International Turf Cup. Wins that race finally, 97 buyer. 3rd off the layoff last year, Bernard Baruch gets beat ahead, 102 buyer speed figure. 3rd off the layoff here. He runs 100 buyer, he's winning.
I don't think he's winning if he runs 100 buyer. He's close, but he's always close. Yeah, listen, if he drifts off the 5 to 1, I'm not going to argue. Let me ask you one question about him. Aside from all the flaws that you know he has, and he has his flaws.
We don't have enough time.
1 1/8, you think it's a little far from? I think he's more of a miler type.
I think that's a question mark for him. I think if he's going to get it, though, it's going to be over Monmouth, which is a course I think they can carry horses.
You don't want to be wide at Monmouth, though.
You don't. It's really up to Antonio Gallardo, one of our favorite riders, to kind of get him to relax a little bit early. But I do think he drifts off the.
Do you think between the 2 mod horses, maybe reverse those odds?
Yes, I think Monarchs Glen is going to take more money. He's your top selection in this race. He did good work overseas in Europe. We thought his last race was a prep, and unlike projected, the 1 1/8, right up his alley.
Yeah, it feels like this is a good distance for him. He's going to need a trip. We already talked about, closing on this turf course, you need some pace, and you don't want to go too wide at Monmouth. He might have to do both of those things, but I think this horse is pretty good.
You're going 1, 2, 4, and 7. I'm going 8, 7, 2, and 3 in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. It is your Saturday DRFBets race of the day. Our coverage is presented by our good friends at Monmouth Park. And again, remember to take advantage of our money-back offer all month long on DRFBets with the race of the day. If you bet one horse to win, $7 to be exact, and your selection finishes second or third, you get your money back. Learn more at promos.drf.com. Thanks to our sponsor, Monmouth Park, and approximate post time for the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes, 5:32 Eastern. Good luck.